much for taking a little time out of your day today to sit with us to chat about OSCQR. I am Alexandra Pickett. I am the Director of Online Teaching at SUNY Online, and my partner here today is Erin Maney. Erin, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Glad to have you.
So if you are interested in OSCQR, you're in the right place. OSCQR is our online course quality rubric, and this presentation is to give you an overview of the companion website and resources that are available that are sort of complements to the OSCQR rubric and the OSCQR process. I just want to make sure that folks are aware of all of the information and resources that are available to them that are related to OSCQR. So that's what this presentation is about. We have other presentations periodically throughout the years on how to do a review and trainings on how to implement larger scale online course quality initiatives. This one is really intended to give you an overview of the oscqr.suny.edu website and all the resources that are available there. And of course, we'll touch on lots of things, and any questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll have some time at the end to ask questions as well. OSCQR, as you may be aware, is a freely and openly licensed resource that we have developed as a companion to the OSCQR rubric. And it expands and enhances the explanations and the examples that correspond to each of the OSCQR standards. I just want to, there's the main OSCQR website. It's the oscqr.suny.edu website, and Erin's going to be popping links in the chat as we go. I have a ton of stuff to show you. I want to make sure to acknowledge all of the efforts of all of the people and groups that have been involved in the creation of OSCQR over the years. We have, originally when we developed it between 2013 and 14, we had a core team and a librarian team and a multimedia team, all who gave input, and these are from all over the SUNY system. We have continued to develop OSCQR and enhance OSCQR. We're now in version 3.1, and OSCQR has been adopted by the Online Learning Consortium as their online course quality rubric and scorecard, and is featured amongst their suite of scorecards. And that adoption happened in 2016. And so we've had a great partnership with OLC over the years on OSCQR. So that's the acknowledgement. I wanted to point out some resources that are here to make sure that if you're trying to explain OSCQR to someone else, that we have some great information on this website. This is under the About menu. And there's a great 4-minute video, and there's a 3-minute version of this video also that gives a quick sort of graphical overview, an explanation of what OSCQR is sort of across the board. So if you're ever trying to explain what it is in a nutshell, you can share that video with folks. I wanted to mention the rubric itself. So here is the latest version of the rubric. If you go to the OLC website, you can download this PDF directly from them. And it's a free download. You just have to give your name and email address, and the PDF immediately downloads. And this is what you would get. So I'm just showing you the rubric, and it's been updated. Let me just click on something and see if I can get there. So you saw, I just clicked on standard 9, I think, over here in the rubric, and that links directly over here to the website that I'm demonstrating and showing you today, so that you can see how the rubric kind of connects with this complementary or companion resource. So if you're interested in more information about standard 9, you just click right on the rubric itself, the standard itself, and you can see I'm mousing over that standard, and you can see the URL pops up, and it goes directly to our companion website. So let me get
If there's a
back.
question that's relevant to what you're sharing right now,
Sure.
how often does the rubric get updated?
So we have it on a periodic schedule, which has been interrupted by COVID. We had been, initially hoping to do it quarterly. That sort of ended up to be more, twice a year, like, after the spring and fall semester, we would take a look. The last time we updated it was over the summer. We did some updating during our rebrand from Open SUNY to SUNY Online. We have some mobile standards that we are getting ready to add to the rubric, and periodically, we'll find something that we need, that someone will call attention to something that we need to tweak. So we've done that also. A big version change, I think this coming year we'll probably be working at some point during the year on we'll go either to 3.2 or to 4.0, depending on how big the change is. Part of the challenges for us with this tool is getting the technical support that is necessary behind the scenes, and we've just lost some staff, and so that has presented some challenges with the hiring freezes. So yeah, I mean, we are keeping it current and keeping it up to date and keeping in close contact with OLC, and have community around this. And I'll show you in a minute how you can contribute your comments and suggestions, and that those are intended to be regularly reviewed and incorporated into the rubric. All right, hope that answers that. Let me go back to the front page here. Just to give you kind of a little bit of a tour, this site can be used as a standalone informational website, but as I mentioned, it is intended to be used in conjunction with the OSCQR rubric, and as I demonstrated, it's actually integrated right into the rubric to provide more in-depth explanations of each standard. It provides ideas and examples of how to address each standard. And let me just go over there. And it also provides citations. So I'll go into this first one here. Course includes welcome and getting started content. So you can see this gives much more explanation about the particular standard. Each standard has a companion little mini learning video that we collected from our own community of folks who are using OSCQR. These are faculty and instructional designers from around the system who are talking about this particular standard, and each standard has this. Then there are ideas on how to refresh your course, to address this particular standard, some additional resources, and I'll talk more about Topper in a second, and then the option and opportunity to add comments or to submit contributions that we will then review to add to this particular standard. I want to make sure that you know how to download that PDF that I showed you. On this website, if you go to the Get OSCQR link, you have all the different options for accessing rubric-related resources. So if you want to download the OLC PDF, you would click on this link and that'll take you straight over to OLC and to the page where you can actually go and download the scorecard. And as you can see, all you have to do is tell them who you are and it will automatically download. So that PDF that I showed you will automatically download once you tell them who you are. And then, let's see. So then you can also, if you want, if you're working with your instructional designer or have a campus that's doing a more larger scale initiative, you might be asked to use the interactive rubric, and instructional designers and directors of online learning might be interested in using the interactive dashboard to kind of manage things. So this is the page where you would go for all of the things related to the interactive rubric, the PDF rubric, and the dashboard. All right, so let's go back to explanation, evidence, and examples. And as you can see, there are 6 categories: course overview and information, technology and tools, design and layout, content and activities, interaction, and assessment and feedback. So that's how the site is organized. We've kind of categorized each set of the standards, and when we designed this, we were looking at this in terms of how a course review might take place. So if you're an instructional designer or faculty person, one of the first things you would do with a course review would be to check out the course information and the course overview in order to get the lay of the land, understand what the instructor is hoping to do with the course. All right, so let's see, what else have we got? Here, I had mentioned, I wanted to mention that one of the things we've added to all of these pages are references, so support from the research that supports each of the standards. So we have that as part of this, this sort of format for each of the standards as well. I wanted to make sure to mention that. I mentioned Topper. Topper is a teaching online pedagogical repository that was developed by the University of Central Florida, with whom we have a very strong relationship and partnership on a number of things. And they got a grant, I believe from NGLC, to develop, I think it was this, to develop this, this repository. And so no need to reinvent the wheel. One can come here and look at pedagogical practices, and one can actually submit one's own effective practices for review for inclusion in this repository. And we have a couple of different events throughout the year where we communicate out with folks to have them submit their best practices, either faculty or instructional designers, to this repository, so that we can continue to help build this up, which then feeds into OSCQR, so that if you are an instructional designer or an instructor looking for a way to improve a particular aspect of your course, let's say your discussions, and that's what comes out of your OSCQR review, that you need to improve your discussions, you can come here to dive a little more deeply into some best practices for addressing that. Here's the one level in that repository. So there's best practices for course content, for interaction. That's where you'd get some info on improving your discussions, assessment, and so forth. Another place that you can go, and this is another area where we have mined for additions to that section of the OSCQR standard page of best practices and ideas for enhancing your course. This is the OLC Effective Practices, their repository. So here is another place that you can go to look and see. These are actual awards that have been given out on various topics to various projects. And so this is also another place you can go to look for ideas. And we've also done that ourselves and have included already into the actual standards evidence and links to some of those effective practice awards from OLC. All right, so we already did the Get Oscar. So I wanted to point out some of the other areas that we have here in terms of resources in using OSCQR. This is a whole folder. If you're an instructional designer or a director of online learning, you might be interested in looking through these materials. And again, everything that we do and that I'm showing you is openly licensed and freely available. So you can feel free to go to that folder and make a copy of that folder, and then it's yours. And then you can do whatever it is you would like to do with the contents. These are materials from a workshop that I've been doing for the last couple of years for OLC. And it really is, as I said, intended for directors of online learning or instructional designers who might be doing a larger scale online course quality initiative, either at program level or at the school level or at the institutional level in some way. And it could be focused on improving online course quality. It could be focused on accessibility or improving interaction. So there's lots of different ways to implement some of these larger scale quality initiatives, and there is a template in that folder to design an implementation plan that is customized to whatever it is that you're trying to do. And so hopefully that if you're interested in that, those materials will help you. We also have lots of videos and use cases to share. So this is a playlist that we've put together for implementing OSCQR. And so, so if you're looking to actually adopt and implement it in some, a little bit larger of a scale, you might want to sort of mine these resources for additional information. And again, these videos are from folks who are in our community, and you'll recognize possibly if you're from SUNY, that's Vicki Sloan from Clinton Community College right there on the video. All right, so I've also been collecting, and if anyone on the call here knows of anything I should add, please pop the link in the chat or send me or Erin an email, and we will certainly add, add to these resources. So I've been collecting and looking for examples of OSCQR as I find them in scholarly work about, from lots of different people. These are not just papers or articles from within SUNY, they are also external to SUNY. And then I'm also always looking for any additional research in support of any of the standards. And so if you are familiar or aware with anything of anything that I could add to either of these two link roles, I would certainly appreciate the citation or the link itself so that I can add it here. All right, let's go to course design. I want to make sure to point out, oops, where'd it go? Point out some of our course design resources that are available. And so these are general resources for online course design. And of course, during COVID, we've developed a bunch of remote teaching course design that are specific to remote teaching. And we have a checklist that we've developed that I am hoping will be of interest to folks. And you can see in this checklist, we've actually associated each of the elements of the checklist with specific OSCQR standards. So we're tying the rubric in with course design, faculty development, and so forth. So that's what's under the course design link. There are a number of trainings that we've done over the years and that are available, and that gives you a sense of our professional development paths for folks. and then, of course, associated with the trainings will be some badges. And you can, I'm sure Erin's popping the links, you can dive in further to see, you know, from the links what is necessary in order to earn those links. Earn those badges. All right, back to the site. OSCQR has been recognized by a number of organizations with some awards, and I want to make sure that folks know and understand you know, that this rubric has gotten some recognition, and we're very, very pleased about that. And so that if you happen to be sharing this with anyone, this is another thing I think that helps people to see it in its you know, in the best light. So that's there and available, and there's information under the links if you want to know more about the recognitions. We also have a wonderful community associated with OSCQR, and some have created resources that we have shared here for the benefit of the whole community. And so I invite you to come and take a look at any of these resources. We do have an OSCQR user group that I'll show you in a minute if you're interested in networking with other folks who are using OSCQR. And this is open to anyone, regardless of your affiliation with SUNY. So I invite you to check this out. There's lots of cool stuff here. I'll mention the syllabus that was created from a person at UAlbany, one of our institutions, and it is it guides you through the creation of a syllabus and connects the OSCQR standards to the different components of the syllabus. So it's a very cool tool. What's next? Oh, so I had mentioned that if you want to contribute anything to a particular standard, that there was a mechanism for doing that. So if you look at each standard page, down at the bottom, it says, you know, if you have a comment on this particular standard, you can leave a comment, and this is how you do it. It's, you know, you put your comment and your name and so forth, and then you can add your comments there. If you want to contribute your own ideas and have them considered for inclusion in this you know, kind of co-created resource that we have here, all you have to do is fill out the form here, and with you know, all the information about what you're contributing, and then periodically we will update that. We will review it and update the website with your contributions. I mentioned the networking site with the OSCQR user group. So the first thing you need to do is to join the networking community. And then once you're in, and this is it, and then once you're in there, you would join the OSCQR user group. And the user group is under groups, and in here somewhere, here it is, OSCQR user group. So once you join the networking community, then you can join the OSCQR user group. And again, this is open to anyone, regardless of their affiliation with SUNY. So I am going to pause here and see, Erin, are there any questions that I can answer for the group? But you can unmute yourself and ask a question. If anyone has.
Absolutely, you can unmute yourself if you would like. Could you go back, Alex, to the OLC award site?
Sure.
I just want to make sure that I've given folks the right link.
Is this it? Is this
so it's actually on the OLC page.
OLC.
So it must have been one of the tabs that you showed.
All right, let me look. So
where it listed, you know, all of the different.
Oh, okay. The effective practices.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
OLC effective practices. Yep, here it is. You want me to pop that in the chat?
Great. Yep, that's the one that we were looking for.
All right, let me grab that. Oh, chat. here. That's the one for the OLC effective practices, which I think was over here, right? Oh no, I lost it again. Now here, it's here. Yeah, this one.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, it's not the most user-friendly site. Like, you know, you can't really search and sort it that I have found, but you know, and it's extensive. You know, there's lots and lots of pages. But we did go through it at one point, and you know, but we went through all of it, and took whatever was relevant to OSCQR and added it to each of the standards pages wherever it was relevant. Obviously, we need to do that periodically because they're always adding effective practices, but it is something that we have already done at least once, and have intention to continue to keep updated. And we've done the same thing with Topper as well. But I wanted to make sure that people knew the original sources and could go there directly if you wanted to, because they, that's what they're intended for. So what else? Who has the next question?
So the next question is Jennifer, and Jennifer is at Brockport.
Okay.
And she mentions that at Brockport, the OSCQR reviews of courses are optional and have to be requested by the faculty. So she's wondering if that's the same practice for most of the SUNY campuses, or are there campuses that have required OSCQR reviews of all fully online courses? And we do have some other campuses on here, instructional designers, who may be able to say what they do with their integration of OSCQR, but do you know holistically?
Yeah, I mean, SUNY is a federation of 64 campuses, and there are many, many ways that campuses have opted to adopt and implement course quality initiatives. I think last time we counted, we had over 45 SUNY campuses who had implemented OSCQR in some way or another, but OSCQR was intentionally designed to be flexible to accommodate any type of model. And so we have campuses who have faculty fill out the PDF rubric as part of their professional development as new online instructors. Once they've taught their course for the first time, they'll do the rubric and then self-assess essentially, and take that, whatever they learn from that self-assessment, and make improvements either individually, or they'll take their report to an instructional designer and work with the instructional designer to prioritize and help them figure out what they should improve for the next time they teach. We have instructional designer models where these are conducted prior to the go live of the course. Some of them are more formal, some are more informal. But that's kind of a review by an instructional designer that then will identify any problems, if any, that might be needing to be tweaked in the course before it goes live. Obviously, if the faculty have gone through a formative experience with OSCQR, so they're familiar with the standards as they design the course, if they go through a formal faculty development process, that review is not going to be a big deal because it's already been infused into the process with the instructors. We have a model where you'll have subject matter experts within a discipline or a department peer review each other's courses. We have another similar model, but you have experts, a variety of experts. So you might have an instructional designer, the instructor, a multimedia person, a librarian, and a student do a review of a course. And then we have combinations in between of all of those models. Some campuses require it in some way or another. Some campuses, as you say, it's left up to the initiative of the instructor. Some it's kind of a combination, so we have everything, I think, represented in SUNY, all kinds of variety and variations. So yeah, I hope that helps and that answers a little bit.
Yeah.
OSCQR was intended to be flexible to accommodate whatever model make sense for your context and your campus.
So just a follow up to that before I ask another question that's on a different topic. Some of the campuses have several, online courses, and it's impossible for the small ID staff to review that many courses. So who are doing the reviews on other, what other models have you seen to get those reviews accomplished?
Oh, that's great. And Erin, maybe you want to get the mentoring network link and post that. So I think that there's lots of different ways that this could be, or probably is likely being creatively solved on campuses, and it may need to rely on peer or self-assessments on some campuses just because of the context. But one of the things that we've done here at SUNY Online is to collect volunteers, folks from across the system who are willing to review courses. And so we have collected information from them and posted their names, their areas of expertise, their certifications, their time, their availability. I'm trying to see if I can navigate and talk at the same time. Oh no, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry. This one is about course review.
So it's in the chat, Alex. You've got the mentors, but the specific course reviewers are a separate one.
Yeah, there it is. So campuses who are looking to get some help with course reviews, or instructional designers or directors of online learning who are trying to think how they might, scale this a little bit, would be able to come here to this website, and it's a self-serve website. We've provided the names of the volunteers, and as you can see here under Carol, her primary discipline, what she's willing to review, what her availability is, and what her experience is. And so we've got that, organized by discipline. I think it also shows if they have a certain certification, doesn't it, Erin?
It would have the OSCQR badge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see if Lisa has it. So I don't know. I think it's in there somewhere. I thought I've seen it. Oh yeah. So here, Linda has the OSCQR reviewer badge. So, but in any case, these people have gone through some screening, and they have volunteered. They are willing to review courses. So Erin and I are hoping that by letting you guys know that this here is available, that you will come and reach out and see if there is something that you could put together with the help of some of these volunteers. And we'd love to hear about it. If you do it, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. And that's organized by discipline too, so that you can find folks relative to what course you're hoping to review. I want to get to Bill's question too, since we're at time here. So, Bill mentions how there have been various moves toward identifying practices conducive to achieving equity in higher education, and wondered if that might be something that's reflected in subsequent iterations of OSCQR.
Yeah, actually, this is a very great question. Thank you, Bill, for asking that. There's been a lot of people involved in OSCQR over the last however many years, 4 or 5 years. And up until OSCQR 2.0, we actually had a standard on diversity, equity, and inclusion in there in some form. And somehow or another, it was dropped. And so this is on the list. And there's a committee or some sort of a group at system of folks from around the system that have been looking into, doing some work in this area. And I'm very, have worked over, closely with Nasli from the system office, who is also involved in this area. And I'm very interested in getting that back into OSCQR Oscar. So thanks for the question. It's a great question, and it definitely is on my mind and on the list of things to make sure that they're reflected. And of course, if you are involved in or want to be involved in making a suggestion for specific things that you think should be added or could be added, please fill out that form with your comment or with your suggestion if you have something specific. I always love to get multiple perspectives, and so we look to the community to help us frame changes, additions, tweaks to the existing standards. So thank you for that question.
So
What else have we got? Anything else?
I don't see any other questions. I have put in some links to ways that you can engage with our community. So you can become an online teaching fellow. And if you are someone who is outside of the SUNY system, you can join as a friend of SUNY. We also have our online networking community that Alex mentioned that also has the OSCQR user group there. And so those links are there for you. I'm going to put a link for the recordings, which will be on the same site that you registered. So let me grab that real quick. So we have a playlist going of all of our monthly webinars. And here you go. You can go to that and we will upload the videos there. And I also want to draw your attention to a second webinar in our online course quality series that will be next week on December 9th. And that is about OER in support of OSCQR, so Open Educational Resources. And some of our OER folks will be sharing on that. And so we invite you to attend that next Wednesday, the 9th at noon, using the same link that you did for today's session.
I just want to encourage everyone to join as a fellow. One of the ways that we are able to sort of communicate out with people is by capturing your name and your email address at events like this. And so if you join in one of these roles, you will get some communications about events like this one. And, as I said at the top of this, everything that we do, we try to openly license and make freely available. And we try not to bother people too much. It's just to make sure that you are aware of what the resources are that are out there. So we do these webinars in an effort to make sure folks are aware of the things that we have. So these roles here are for internal SUNY folks, and then we have the Friend of SUNY role for our friends from Oklahoma and Wisconsin. You can join as a friend of SUNY, and then you will get some communications from us about events like this.
Great, thanks, Alex. All right, thanks for all the feedback in the chat, and we hope you all enjoy your afternoon and be well. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. I'll hang out here in case anyone has a burning question. I'll hang out for a minute.